Okay, I know I signed off, and yes, you're seeing the Barnett back on. Okay, this little bit of advice I can give, because I've just, well, obviously ran into the problem, which sometimes happens. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, now, I didn't do enough research to find out what these bolts were, if they were torque to yields or if they were just a standard bolt, but they're not. They are a torque to yield. You see that gap right there? Yeah, that means when you crank them or when you tighten them, torque them, it puts tension on the threads. It pulls back on them inside of that hole. So what winds up happening, a torque to yield really means you can only use it once for a duty surface like this. Something basic like on your bench, or you're bolting something to your table. You would probably be fine unless you ran into a problem is where your torque point just begins, that those threads start to leave the bolt. Now these are torque to yield, which means they're really one-time use only. You could get lucky, but you always take the chance, if you're going to reuse torque to yields, of this happening, which you can't see inside of there what's going on once this is fully inserted. So what I wound up doing is I was torquing them all down. This one here just seemed like it wanted to go beyond where I was torquing the other one. So something I've learned over the past 30 years of working on cars and trucks. You run into something that feels weird, stop, figure out what that weird thing is. So what I wound up doing is pulling this bolt back out, and that's what I found. Now, if I would have kept going, I'm not sure if they used hardened threads inside of there, but I didn't want to take the chance, because if they're aluminum and you kept trying to torque this down, what's going to happen is you're going to round out these threads in here, which you don't want to do. I'm not sure, like I said, if they're aluminum inside there or not. Sorry, this is where the issue was these were there, but nevertheless you can't see those anymore. The threads are good on the inside. Again, I'm not sure if they put steel inserts, which some things do, or some manufacturers do. I'm not sure. I know that this one again, I don't know, but it didn't torque, or it torqued beyond where I thought it should be. I pulled it out just to see why that was, and I was hoping that it wasn't the thread inside there was stripped. But once I pulled it out, I saw that the threads on this, and what this, like I said, wound up being is a torque to yield bolt. So one-time use. This is what happens on a torque to yield. The threads give way from all the tension. They're built to be put in once and left. And that's it. If you pull them out, discard them and get new torque to yields. All the other ones were fine. All the other ones torqued right. This one here went a little bit beyond. If you could see, it popped one thread. So again, if I would have kept going, I would have rounded out the threads on the inside, which look like this. But again, had I rounded those out, that would have been an issue. I would have had to either tapped it out myself, found a larger size bolt to fit that tappet, or I'd have to get a new assembly. So let that be a little note for you. If they feel, like I said, if you could feel it like I did. I mean, I felt it, just felt like it kept wanting to go, so I stopped, pulled it out, and that's the issue. So the Barretts come with, I think these are grade 8s. So, and they're much longer. So I just wound up putting this back on. I'm not going to try to put the stock one back on at this point. Nah. I'm not going to deal with, again, I don't have any more of bolts like these to throw into the stock clutch. So yeah, it's going to be a headache. So I'm just going to go ahead and wait for the springs to come. I'm only going to have to pull out 3 of these springs anyway to put the heavy duty ones on and then torque these back down. But again, if you feel something weird, stop and find out what that weird thing you're feeling is. Because if you kept going with a strip bolt or a torque to yield that didn't want to torque right, all you're going to wind up doing is damaging the threads inside there. These damaged thread, no big deal. Toss it to the side. I just put the Barrett back on with these grade 8s and it's over. But had there been a problem with the threads on the inside of the clutch drum, then, like I said, that's going to wind up being pretty costly. Either you're going to have to get a new one, tap it out and find get a bolt that'll fit it. It's a nightmare. So take your time, feel what it is you're doing. If you feel something weird, stop, figure it out before you go any further, and you'll be good to go. Okay, so the Barnett's back in, and I am going to put the cover back on, and then that's it. Wait for the springs to come. Alrighty.